Hello lovely English learners, and welcome to this week's Learn English with Carly video lesson. For those who are new to the channel, I'm Carly from Learn English with Carly, a qualified and very experienced teacher of languages. I appreciate you being here and I'm looking forward to working with you. Hopefully this channel is right up your street, and I hope the novelty of watching my videos doesn't wear off. But let's not jump the gun. As long-term viewers of this channel know, I love idioms. We use them so often in our everyday English that they are essential for learners to firstly understand, learn, practice, and then use in their everyday English. I have chosen 6 new idioms to teach you this week, and I've taken these from conversations with my family and friends, so you know they are relevant idioms to learn as they are used in real everyday English. Let's get started, shall we? Our first idiom today is measure twice, cut once. This means to take extra care in planning and preparation to avoid mistakes, especially in tasks that are difficult or irreversible. Irreversible is a C2 level adjective that means cannot be changed. For example, if we cut a piece of wood and we cut it incorrectly, then the damage is irreversible. Let's see how we use this idiom, measure twice, cut once, in English. I always double check my calculations before cutting fabric or wood. Measure twice, cut once. The carpenter's rule holds true for me. Measure twice, cut once. A gardener learns to measure twice, cut once when pruning plants to avoid damaging them. Noah learnt the hard way that it's better to measure twice, cut once, after wasting wood on a miscalculation. When building the deck, we made sure to measure twice, cut once, to ensure everything fit perfectly. Before submitting your report, measure twice, cut once to make sure all of the data is accurate. Do you also measure twice, cut once to avoid mistakes? How can you use this idiom in your everyday English? Our second idiom today is great minds think alike. This idiom is used when people have similar ideas and thoughts. Usually we use this as a standalone phrase, so when someone suggests or says something that we are also thinking, we say great minds think alike. In the following example sentences, as I'm stating when this idiom was used, you'll notice that all the sentences are in the past. When we both suggested the same solution, I said, great minds think alike. Hannah picked the same book I was going to recommend. Great minds think alike. I was just thinking about watching that movie. Great minds think alike. When my friend and I both mentioned the same holiday destination, we chuckled. Great minds think alike. I was planning on baking a cake too, she said. Great minds think alike. When my sister and I picked the same gift for our mum, we both laughed, saying, great minds think alike. These sentences give you an idea of the kinds of situations or scenarios when we would use this idiom. Do you have a similar idiom in your first language? Please share it with me. Our third idiom is to jump the gun. If someone jumps the gun, this means that they start something prematurely. Prematurely is another higher level English adjective to describe something that is too early or before the proper time. Twins are often born prematurely. Let's look at how we use to jump the gun in everyday English. I know you're excited, but let's not jump the gun on this decision. I think Dylan jumped the gun by announcing the project before it was approved. Last week, Layla jumped the gun and sent out invites before confirming the venue. Helena and Oscar jumped the gun on their wedding plans before discussing finances. My neighbour jumped the gun and began the renovations before getting the necessary permits. Have you ever jumped the gun? Have you ever been looking forward to doing something, but after you started it, the novelty has worn off? The novelty wears off means that the initial excitement or interest in something diminishes or reduces over time. I hope the novelty of watching Learn English with Carly never wears off. And an example sentence that is very relevant at this time of year when people make New Year's resolutions. At the beginning of a new year, many people join a gym, but then they stop going as the novelty wears off. Do you make New Year's resolutions? If so, are they to maintain your health? I love hearing from you, so please feel free to write to me to practice your English. My sister warned her friend that the novelty of owning a puppy wears off quickly. The novelty of living in the city wore off after a few months. The children were excited about the new computer game, but the novelty wore off after a week. At first, I loved my new phone, but the novelty has worn off now. After a few months in her new relationship, Yasmin realized that the novelty had worn off. Have you ever had an experience where the novelty has worn off? Hopefully this video is right up your street. If something is right up your street, this means that it is perfectly suited to your tastes or your interests. A book club? That's right up my street. My dad loves crime stories, and this new book looks like it's right up his street. The photography exhibition sounds like it's right up my street. Tom suggested to his friend that they try bouldering, and I thought, that's right up Tom's street. When Fan mentioned the pottery class, I knew it was right up her street. Karen recommended a podcast about history, and I thought, that's right up my street. And our sixth and final idiom today is to make ends meet. I'm sure many of us are making ends meet right now. To make ends meet means to earn enough money to live without getting into debt. Debt. That's an interesting pronunciation. We don't need to pronounce the B. Debt. Many families are finding it difficult to make ends meet these days. When prices rise, it becomes harder to make ends meet. My friend works 2 jobs to make ends meet. It's tough to make ends meet on a single income. Many people budget carefully to make ends meet each month. After losing his job, Elias struggled to make ends meet. With careful planning, Lucas managed to make ends meet despite the challenges. Alice has been trying to make ends meet since moving to London. How are you making ends meet at the moment? 6 new idioms for you this week. Measure twice, cut once. Great minds think alike. To jump the gun. The novelty wears off. Right up your street. And to make ends meet. How are these idioms similar or different to your first language? How will you learn, practice, and use these idioms in your everyday English? Listen out for them if you're watching a YouTube video in English or if you listen to podcasts in English. Thank you for joining me today, and see you in our next English video lesson. Take care in the meantime. Have a great week. Bye.